They thought you were ordinary. They thought you could be broken like anyone else. So the demon whispered in their ears, fed them lies, and sent them against you. They came smiling to your face, but plotting behind your back. They came dressed as friends, as lovers, as allies, and every one of them thought the same thing. This time, we'll bring them down. But the demon forgot one small detail. You are not like the rest. You are not fragile. You are not disposable. Because hidden inside you is something they never expected, something divine. Every trap they set was built for a mortal. Every dagger was meant for someone weak. Every betrayal was designed to shatter a spirit, not awaken a god. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still unclaimed. They don't realize the truth yet, but they will. They don't understand what it means to rise against someone who was forged in fire, but they will. Because when they look back at this moment, trembling and broken, they will finally understand. The demon didn't send them against a victim. The demon sent them against the divine. Let me tell you something about the divine. They are not born in peace. They are not shaped in comfort or raised in safety. No, the divine is forged in chaos. It is hammered into existence in the fire of despair, in the storms of betrayal, in the silence of lonely nights where the world forgot your name. You didn't choose this path. It chose you because only someone like you could walk it. Every heartbreak was a lesson. Every betrayal was a test. Every wound was a forge, shaping you into something more than human. The world mistook your suffering for weakness. They thought the nights that broke you left nothing behind. But in reality, every tear watered the soil of your transformation. Every scar became proof of your survival. And every time you stood back up, you were less mortal, more eternal. The truth is, divinity is not gentle. It does not arrive with blessings and crowns. It arrives with fire, with trials, with storms that destroy everything soft until only the unshakable remains. And that is you. The storm didn't end you. The storm revealed you. Now when they whisper, when they scheme, when they gather in dark corners to plot your downfall, they don't even realize the mistake they've made. They are not conspiring against a person anymore. They are conspiring against the divine. The demon couldn't face you directly, so it whispered, it deceived, it planted seeds of envy in the hearts of those around you, and suddenly the smiles you trusted turned sharp. The voices you once leaned on became daggers in the dark. Your so-called friends, they wore masks of loyalty while secretly praying for your fall. Even those closest to you, people you would have bled for, were tricked into believing the lies. So the demon sent them, the traitors, the fakes, the enemies dressed as allies. They didn't just attack you from the outside. No, they tried to break you from within. Whispers behind your back, schemes woven in silence, knives slipped between your ribs by the very hands you once held. Piece by piece, they tried to rip your spirit apart, to make you doubt yourself, to make you question your worth, to bury you beneath shame and betrayal. But what they didn't understand is this: Betrayal does not destroy the divine. It awakens it. Every scheme sharpened your resolve. Every dagger they drove only struck the surface, never the soul. And when the demon's pawns looked into your eyes, expecting defeat, they didn't see a broken victim. They saw something terrifying. They saw the beginning of a god rising. They thought the daggers would pierce you. They thought the lies would drown you. They thought the betrayals would shatter you into pieces too small to rise again. But they forgot one thing. You are not made of glass. You are forged of fire. Every dagger they drove into your back, you pulled it out and reforged it into a sword. Every lie they spread about you, you turned it into fuel, a reminder of how dangerous your truth must be. Every betrayal, a lesson, a sharpening stone against which your spirit became unbreakable. They wanted your silence. Instead, they gave you a voice that roars louder than their schemes. They wanted you to fall. Instead, you learned to fly. They wanted to bury you. But the divine cannot be buried, only planted. And from that soil, you grew into something unstoppable. What they didn't understand is that you don't just survive attacks, you transform them. You don't crumble under pressure. You evolve because of it. So while they celebrated your supposed downfall, you were already rising, taller, stronger, brighter. And by the time they turned back to look, they weren't staring at the ruins of someone defeated. They were staring at the fire of someone reborn. And that fire is something their weapons can never extinguish. You see, they mistook you for human. They thought you lived by the same fragile rules. They thought pain would stop you. They thought fear would control you. They thought betrayal would silence you. But you are not like them. You are not mortal in the way they imagine. You are divine. A god doesn't bow to darkness. A god bends it to their will. A god doesn't run from storms. A god commands the storm to move. A god doesn't ask permission to exist. A god defines existence itself. And when you stood in the fire, when the shadows closed in, when the daggers came flying, you didn't collapse. You didn't kneel. You stood tall with the kind of power that silence cannot hide and chaos cannot consume. That's why they fear you, not because of what you've done, but because of what you are, an unshakable force, a divine presence, a reminder that some spirits cannot be broken, chained, or owned. They wanted to erase your name, but gods don't need names to be remembered. They wanted to strip you of your worth, but gods are worth beyond measure. You don't just endure what others cannot. You rise from it untouched, untouchable, eternal, divine. They thought they had buried you. They thought the dirt of lies, betrayal, and sabotage would be enough to smother your light forever. But here's the thing about trying to bury the divine. You don't bury a god, you plant one. And while they celebrated, while they mocked, while they thought the end had finally come, your roots were already reaching deeper. Your fire was already burning hotter. Your spirit was already climbing higher. They tried to silence your voice, but silence only made your words heavier when you finally spoke. They tried to chain your will, but the chains only revealed how unbreakable you are. They tried to strip away your worth, but worth that is divine cannot be taken. It only multiplies. What they thought was your grave became your birthplace. What they thought was your ending became your awakening. What they thought was defeat became your ascension. And when you rose, you didn't just rise as who you were before. You rose higher, stronger, brighter, untouchable. You rose like fire tearing through the night, like thunder that rattles the bones of cowards. They wanted to destroy you, but instead they created the very thing they feared most, a God they cannot control, cannot cage, cannot kill. And now every step you take is not just survival, it is ascension. Here's what they never understood. Mortals stay down, but gods don't. When the world knocks us to the ground, we don't stay buried. We resurrect, we rise, we reign. Every scar on your body, proof you've walked through fire and came out brighter. Every wound they left behind, a reminder that pain does not kill the divine, it refines it. They thought breaking you meant ending you, but gods don't end. We transform, we evolve, we ascend higher with every strike meant to destroy us. You are not bound by their timelines. You are not trapped by their labels. You are not chained by their systems. What is divine cannot be caged, cannot be erased, cannot be defeated. That's why their whispers sound weaker now. That's why their daggers feel dull. That's why their shadows shrink when your light rises, because gods don't fear death. Gods don't fear betrayal. Gods don't fear loss. We turn all of it into fuel, into fire, into victory. So when they look at you now, standing taller, speaking louder, shining brighter, they don't just see survival. They see eternity. They see a force that cannot be broken, a spirit that cannot be extinguished. You are unshakable. You are untouchable. You are eternal. Now they tremble. Now they whisper your name in places they once laughed at it, because only now do they understand the truth. They were never fighting a fragile soul. They were standing against the divine. The hitmen who tried to corner you, they shake when they see you rise unbroken. The traitors who smiled while stabbing your back, they hide in shame when your light exposes their shadows. The demons who whispered their lies into weak ears, even they bow now, realizing the fire they unleashed burns hotter than anything they can control. It terrifies them that you didn't just survive their storms, you became the storm. That you didn't just resist their weapons, you turned every weapon into your own. That you didn't just escape their traps, you walked through them and came out stronger. And now the question haunts them. How do you destroy what cannot die? How do you stop what only grows stronger every time it's struck? How do you bury something that turns the grave into a throne? They don't have an answer. They never will, because by the time they realized who you truly are, it was already too late. You were no longer the target they thought they could break. You were the God they could never defeat. So now the choice is yours. Do you bow to the ones who tried to bury you? Do you shrink back into the silence they built for you? Or do you rise louder, brighter, unstoppable, reminding them who you are? Because you are not ordinary. You are not fragile. You are not theirs to break. You are divine. You don't beg for crowns. You forge them. You don't ask for thrones. You build them. You don't wait for permission. You take what was already written in your name. The storms will rage. The demons will whisper. The enemies will plot, but none of it matters anymore, because every strike against you only sharpens your edge. Every betrayal only fuels your fire. Every loss only builds your resurrection. You are unshakable. You are untouchable. You are eternal. Let them remember what it means to stand against you. Let them regret the day they mistook your silence for weakness. Let them bow to the power they cannot control, because you are the fire they cannot extinguish, the storm they cannot forecast, the God they cannot destroy. This is your world, your throne, your reign, and the universe will bend to your will.